Okay, I've just about got the bumper finished. I got a little bit more sanding to do, like a couple little chips I found in the fiberglass. Right now I've got the top edge finished. I'm just gonna do like an 1/8 of an inch seam seal across this. I'm not gonna smooth it out with the body. I don't want it to be flush, but I'm just gonna fill it in. That way where it's in contact with the body, where it's pinched, and where there's gaps, it won't be so uneven looking after it's painted. So I'm just going to put some flowable seam sealer, 5887 from 3M, and just press it down in the groove all along here, and then pull the tape while it's still wet. And I'll come back and I'll scuff sand it before I prime all this. I'm going to go ahead and put it in there now before I prime. That way I can put some paint on top of it and slick it out. Alright, it's in there. Now it's not perfectly even because it's settled further in some places than others. That's why I wanted to put it in first before I prime and paint. This way I can come back and I can sand with some 180 just right down in that groove and just level it off a little further down. I don't want it flush with the body like it is right here. I'll just sand some of it out, but I'll take the sandpaper and fold it up and just sand the groove back in it. But that way the groove will be nice and even. There won't be any spots where you can see through it, and it won't hold as much dirt, things like that, when it's out on the road in the weather and all that. Okay, we're ready to prime. I found a few little pinholes after I got finished. Went back and filled those in with some glaze. No big deal. I've got the channel here sanded down, so I've got a nice deep groove in it, but you can't see through it, so it's going to look a whole lot cleaner than having a big dark gap through there. I'm going to go get the primer mixed up now. We do clean out my air cap. I think it might have something stuck in it, or it might not be tight. Two or three more coats will be done. All right, I've got it all sanded out. It took about 5 or 6 hours to hand block all this, but I've got it ready to go. We're gonna do the bumper with it since I can't take it off. I've got a few cut throughs. They're not really bad, just mainly in the front here. One or two here. That's about it. One on the fender lip. So I'm going to go ahead and just seal this. It'll be the same color, it'll just be sealer. So I don't have any issues with any of these cut throughs showing up later on, and I can get coverage better with this, with the red. I've mixed up, I keep white and almost black sealer, and I've mixed this up to value shade 3, which is what the color is. They don't have value shade in this Metalux base coat that I'm going to use on this, but the chroma base value shade is 3. So I've got this mixed up right here, which is between the 2 and the 4 on my card that I keep. So that should be fine. Another reason I've got to do this is because the doors, I think I did them a value shade 4 with some primer I had left over that was already 4 pre-mixed. So they're a little bit different shades, so I don't want to get any difference between the door and the front end here when I do the whole back of the car. So I'll do that in the value shade 3 sealer as well. So my plan is to do the front while I've got it up, since I had to lift it up, get it on stands to do the bumper. And go ahead and do the paint on the front, and I'll block the doors out. Still need to guide coat all this in the back, and I'll shoot the entire back end of the car at one time, and then I'll do the hood and the trunk lid together. And I still got a piece of trim underneath. It's got to be single stage red. Just front of there, that'll be fine. And I got the black air dam. That's about it, except for all the little trim pieces. I'll get you set up here in a second once I get the sealer in the gun. I ran out right at the bottom of the fender on the other side, so I'm gonna mix up about 2 ounces and do the other side, finish it up. All right, I decided not to mix up any more on the other side since this came out to such a close match to the primer that was there. You can kind of see where I stopped, but just barely. So that little bit down there is not really gonna matter. I'd rather have the sealer stop here and it be that close than to mix up some more and it not be the right color. So everything looks pretty good so far. Got the lights off in here to keep any bugs from being attracted over this way. I'm gonna give this about 45 minutes to dry. And we'll get the base coat mixed up. Put 3 coats of base and probably 3 coats of clear. Okay, 2 more coats. Okay, first coat of clear. It's gonna be 3 medium coats. I'm not gonna just slam it on here. Get a nice even coat. Give it plenty of time to cure. The second one on and wait about 10 to 15 minutes and come back and just flow the last one over it. All right, this will get about 5 to 10 minutes. Okay, this is after 3 coats and it's been sitting here for about, I don't know, an hour and a half. Turned out pretty nice. Stayed pretty clean actually. For having 7 layers of paint put on it, didn't really collect a whole lot of dust, which is nice. I'll polish out what's there, but really don't need much. I'm gonna go ahead and pull the plastic off, get the wheels back on it so I can get it back down on the ground where I can move it around. I'd like to go ahead and paint the valance that goes underneath, Not the one that I'm going to do black, but the piece that goes under here and just fills this gap. I'd like to paint it, go ahead and put it on here, but it's fairly simple to get on, so I'll just do that with it on the ground. I need to be able to move the car. I'm gonna go ahead and get it down off the jack.